Conway Medical Center is the way of the future. Who's leading their way? Meet him. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Reflections Bar at the Marina Inn at Grand Dunes, home of the 8th annual Winter Gala of the Conway Medical Center Foundation. We're focused on the Conway Medical Center, and we're visiting with its president and chief executive officer, Phillip Clayton. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning, Greg.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me today.
How about this Reflections Bar in
That's
the
pretty nice
Marina Inn?
looking out the window there.
Absolutely. Early on a Friday morning, of course, the thrill of to think that we're a little less, right over a week from the gala.
Right. We're really looking forward to that event.
You were here last year for the 7th annual one.
Of course.
Yeah.
CEO, I'm here for all the events.
And it was a magnificent.
Spectacular.
Jessica was with us on Monday, and I think she highlighted that this was the first big event for the Marina Inn. They'd had a New Year's Eve event. They opened in November of 05, then November of 06, had a big New Year's Eve event, and then this was the first big sit-down event, the Conway Medical Center Foundation's gala last year.
Right. It's always sort of scary going somewhere new, especially when they haven't done something like that, but they really pulled it off. They did an outstanding job. I heard just nothing but good comments the whole time, and following heading into this year.
Right. And crossing the waterway for you was not that big a deal. You know this side of the waterway pretty well, I believe.
I've been in this area quite a while. My mom and dad bought a house here in 1960, so I've seen a lot of change and growth here in this area.
Oh, yeah. Phil, anything that really sticks out in your mind? You know, when we think about being here at the Marina Inn, looking down below us on Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, which is about to open, and seeing this amazing Grand Dunes development, as well as, of course, across the way, Grand Strand Regional Medical Center and its expansion. Think about some of that growth. Does anything really stick out in your mind?
Sure. I mean, growing up here, we had a two-lane, Highway 17 was a two-lane road with beautiful palm trees and a huge median down the middle. Grand Strand was Ocean View Memorial Hospital at the time.
Right.
Over close to the ocean. Where we sit now was nothing but just woodlands, and we knew there was a waterway over there, but it seemed so far away when I was growing up. Right.
Yeah. And you said your folks bought a place here in 1960. Were you all living somewhere else then? Or you raised, yeah.
Well, my father was a salesman, and they came to vacation here, loved it. He decided that he could travel. He was traveling anyway, so we settled here in Myrtle Beach in, like I say, 1960. And right about 2 miles from here, over on 64th Avenue.
Is that right?
He traveled, and we stayed home. I got to go to all my school and everything through here in Myrtle Beach.
Did you ever imagine that you would make your home back here? You know, Jessica Sasser earlier this week had highlighted that when she was raised in Horry County schools but left to go to the College of Charleston and thought that would be the end of it. She'd never come back.
That's a good question. Thinking back, I'm like most people who always want to get away from their home for a little while.
Right.
Yeah, I did that. I went to school upstate and then stayed in the upstate for a little while. And it was a best friend of mine who had sand in his shoes and wanted to get back that convinced me to send some resumes out, and lo and behold, I ended up back home and loved it. Don't regret it at all. Had sand in my shoes. I love every minute I spend here.
Family still in the area? Are your parents still living?
No, they both passed away, and I was lucky enough to be able to buy the house that I grew up in.
Is
so
that
we
right?
use that right now as a second home, even though it's only a short way away. But it's a lot of memories there, and the location's spectacular. So I can wake up and look at the sunrise, and it makes the day okay.
That is tremendous, Phil. What actually got you to Conway Medical Center, or I guess at that time it was Conway Hospital?
Correct. I was in the Greenville hospital system, spent 3 years there, and like I say, it was a friend of mine who had just come out to spend a weekend with us.
Right.
Said he was sending resumes trying to find a job back home. And my wife and I sat down and talked about it, and we decided this is where we wanted to be too, if things would work out. And
so your wife's from this area as well?
Well, I met her working over here at the Old Barefoot Traders.
Is that
yeah,
right?
I drove a train, and she worked in the shop. So
no, Phil, I didn't see that on your bio. Yeah.
Just a summer romance that something came of, and we've been happily married for quite a while, 1977.
Wow.
But no, we had the chance to come back. I sent blind resumes out. I was in finance at the time, and so happened that Conway Hospital was looking for a controller. And I took that advantage and moved down here, and have had the great opportunity to continue to grow with the organization. As I said, since 1980.
1980
is when we
my
moved
Lord,
here.
almost 30 years.
in one
Not
job.
to date
That's
you, I'm
amazing.
sorry. Yeah, Phil, no, I mean, it is a wonderful thing with one organization.
Truly, I never thought I'd be in one organization this long.
Right.
At the time, it seems like people kept moving around to move up, and that was always one of my goals, was to continue to move up.
Right.
And I was given the great opportunity here with Conway Medical Center to do that.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of growth and change, and it's been spectacular to be here,
yeah.
to be part of it.
I was at the Conway Medical Center website early this morning. I saw on the front page more than 70 years. So it is, I guess it was founded in the 20s or 30s?
We actually got our charter in 1928.
Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, yeah.
Been at our current site since 1982.
1982, their own 501.
That's right.
Now, when you describe that, do you describe it as their own 501, or do you describe it on Singleton Ridge Road, or how do you, if you were describing...
Typically, I'll say it's off of 501,
right,
and then you go down Singleton Ridge Road, but clearly we want to be in a location that was still accessible to as many people as possible.
Yes, of course, that is. I think you mentioned before we started filming this morning when Conway, when you arrived there, it was actually in downtown Conway.
Correct. It was at 9th Avenue and 501 in Conway. The building was very dated because part of the building did go back to 1931.
No.
So that was, and DHEC was allowing us to stay in it only because they knew we had plans to move into something newer. So unfortunately, we did have to leave out of downtown Conway because I know a lot of the citizens were passionate about keeping their hospital there.
Right.
But we felt the only way for us to meet the future needs of this community was to move to a site that had more availability of land so that we could expand and grow, and certainly that's what we've done during the time.
Right, right. Well, of course, earlier this week, you know, Liz and Janie were with us on Wednesday, and Jessica talking about it on, we're talking about the Health Reach program and so much that has to happen with that Health Reach van. Even Judy Price with us on Tuesday talking about the Backpack Buddies program. It was amazing hearing the level of intensity of their interest in really wrapping around and supporting these programs. It's a big deal doing what you all do every day.
Sure. Back in the late 80s, we felt like we should be doing more for our community. And at that point in time, we decided to develop create a foundation.
Right.
And with the thoughts that we needed to have some mechanism to fund some programs that typically wouldn't be funded.
Right.
Foundation has been able to grow and prosper and do things, and because of that arm, we're able to do some very neat things for this community that we probably wouldn't otherwise be able to do. You mentioned the van program. When AVX came to us with a grant to buy the van, we said, well, that's good, but can we continue to support it?
Right.
Foundation took the challenge, and the foundation is able to underwrite the total operations of the van, including personnel and everything.
Is that right?
And
wow.
Like things like the Gala and the Kingston Golf Classic, those help to fund that, and it is. They fund 100% of it. And those are the things we couldn't do otherwise. We're able to reach out in the community. You know, one of the things we recognize is so many people were ending up in our emergency room in a very poor state of health. You know, they let their hypertension go till it became a stroke, or they let their diabetes go till they needed an amputation. And we realized we needed to get out into the community to these people who typically wouldn't be getting health care and help them diagnose their chronic disease early. It's chronic disease is probably the #1 killer in healthcare that people just don't all the time keep up with. And it's been very successful. I mean, the success stories, and talking with Jane and Liz, I'm sure they share some success stories that they've had.
Right.
They do wonderful work. They're able to see people that typically wouldn't get health care, get them into the healthcare system. And that is one of our faults, is that, you know, we still have a population out there that is medically underserved. And I know that issue was addressed in the recent debate and will continue to be a key issue.
Right.
But we have to figure out a way to provide care to these folks. And creating this program, Health Reach, is just our small effort at getting to them.
Showing up at community convenience stores, at gas stations, and otherwise, the Health Reach van just pulling over and folks thinking, almost scared to go up to it. But of course, y'all are, I mean, really stepping out. Is there anything else like this in the county or on the Strand, even in the PD?
I think we're fairly unique around here.
Yeah.
I think MUSC runs one down in the Low Country in Charleston, but around here I think we're pretty unique, and try to continue to do the best job we can, and even take the patients to the next step. We also support things like the Friendship Clinic, so that we can get patients seen in other venues, not just the van, or not just our emergency room.
Right.
So yeah, we're real proud of it. It's one of those services, like I say, we couldn't offer without our foundation, but we're so proud that we're able to offer it because we do feel like we're doing a tremendous job for this community and helping to improve health care.
Absolutely, Phil. And next month, February 2008, it's a 20-year anniversary of the Conway Medical Center Foundation. So a real thrill there. And of course, we're not far from, I hate to say it, your 30th anniversary. So some of the exciting aspects of some of the growth there in the hospital, visiting the website early this morning, there is a lot of information there. Is it ConwayMedicalCenter.com?
That's correct. That is our website.
Ton of information on there that goes on and on. It sounds like, it seemed like I needed to begin getting ready to get in here to see you this morning, so I couldn't go through it as much as I wanted to. But what are some of the things that really stick out in your mind, some of the programs? Of course, we want to talk about the expansion of the hospital and the administrative wing there.
Sure. Well, let's start with expansion. Where we are now is that we have finished an administrative annex, and basically, for all intents and purposes, it's an office building. Our business services have moved out of the main hospital, and truly that was a cost-saving effort, because if you compare construction costs for hospital-type facilities versus office, it's much less to build office space.
Yeah.
But what we're doing is we've moved out, and where our old offices were located, we're doing a new bed tower. This bed tower will house 64 beds on the top 2 floors. The bottom floor, we're going to move a new laboratory. We're going to move our current lab over to a new space, so it'll become state-of-the-art.
Wow.
We'll have a new GI center for colonoscopies in the new center on the bottom floor. The top 2 floors are really exciting because they're going to have state-of-the-art patient rooms. It'll be totally different than what you're seeing in this area now. The rooms will actually be much larger than what we have. That's probably one of my biggest problems, is we have very small patient rooms now. These rooms will be large enough to where we'll have what's called a treatment area for the clinical staff.
In each patient's room?
Right.
Wow.
The patient bed area, and then the family area. So the family will be able to be part of the care, be able to stay comfortably. We're going to do the wireless internet, Wi-Fi, so that if whoever said will bring their laptop, or the patient can use their laptop and connect to the internet. Trying to be more centered toward that family care. We realize how important it is for the family to be with the patient. But that'll be exciting. And then our new ICU area will actually be a totally different concept of care. What we used to do, or what we do today, is the patient comes in, say, chest pain. They immediately go to our ICU. From ICU, we have to step them down to our progressive care unit. Once they're good enough to get out there, then we move them again to a regular room. So that patient has gone from our emergency department to ICU, to PCU, to a regular room. Our new concept will be is that we'll just move the nurses. The entire 3rd floor of our unit will be equipped so that a patient, once they check into that room, they stay in that room. Level of nursing care will change as their needs change.
Right, yes.
But we feel like that will be very important to the family and to the patient, not having to move around. As much as you like to say, there is occasion where a patient does get lost when that family member doesn't come for a day and comes back, and they're trying to go to the ICU.
Right. Where's my loved one? Yeah,
so this will take care of that issue. We're really excited.
That is tremendous, Phil. That really is state of the art. There's nothing like it.
That's right. It'll be really exciting for the area.
And progressively, every year or every other year, as more advances are made, everyone's facilities will upgrade, I suspect.
Sure. Facilities are probably the hardest to upgrade. You do have to go through a certificate of need process.
Oh, yeah.
Which we did back in probably 2005 for our beds. But one of the key features of certificate of need is to try to hold down costs. So changing facilities is often difficult because you do have to figure out a way to do more with what you have.
Right.
But overall, I would say you will see all the facilities trying to move up and improve. And I know that both Grand Strand and Loris hospitals have gotten their certificate of needs for additional beds.
That's right. Sure, and you've got a good relationship with the other 2 hospitals here, as well as Waccamaw and Georgetown.
Absolutely. Sure. Get along great with their CEOs of the hospitals. We're able to share information, talk about things.
Right.
If there's ever a time we share supplies, if we're out of a supply, we can call and they'll ship one over. So.
Right.